What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I have my co-anchor again with me, my girlfriend.
Hi everyone.
Today we're going to be talking about the cars that we test drove before we chose the Range Rover Evoque.
Yep.
Now if you haven't seen the previous video, we revealed the new car that's sort of going to be on the channel. It's my girlfriend's new car, and I had told you that in the next video I'd talk about why she chose this car and why she needed to get a new car now. So I guess we'll kick off the video with why you had to get a new car right now. So you want to tell the story?
Yeah, for sure. So my Jeep Wrangler 2005, I was driving home one night from work and got in a car accident. It was not my fault, but I just got to clarify that.
Yep.
But now I get this little badge of honor for another couple of weeks.
I don't think the camera sees it. You want to raise it up? There it is.
Yay! My nice little...
Yeah, so some Dodge Ram 2500 pulled out right in front of her and she didn't have time to stop.
Yep.
And so the car was totaled.
Car was totaled. Really sad. Very stressful.
Yeah.
And then that following weekend, I mean, I need a car, especially the city we live in. I mean, you have to have a car to get anywhere. So we started test driving, and yeah, so kind of out of necessity, I got this car, but it ended up being a light at the end of the tunnel, I guess.
Right. So now that you know that a car accident pretty much forced her to get a new car, we did a lot of shopping. So me being a car guy, I had a list of cars that she had to go through before she chose the car that she wanted. Because this car you've liked since January. Yep,
I've liked it since the car show, the Utah Auto Expo here in Utah. And yeah, I just fell in love with it then. And I mean, I loved my Jeep so much, still do, but I just thought maybe in the next couple of years I'll get it. Maybe I'll look at it then.
Unfortunately, then a couple of years from now, it ended up being a couple months from then because of the car accident. But I'm going to go through the list of cars that we actually ended up looking at that were kind of in your price range and also in the type of car you wanted. You wanted a more of a smaller, compact SUV, similar to the Jeep. She didn't want a huge SUV. She didn't want a car either. So we went through a lot of different cars, and this was the one that she chose. So I guess we'll kick it off. The first one we saw was the Range Rover Evoque. Of course, we went and saw that one first.
Yes.
And then we went to go see the Volvo XC40. So that's the new one that just recently came out. It's the smallest SUV in the Volvo lineup. So tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. So initial thoughts getting into the car. The outside design, I really liked how it looked on the outside. I liked the options of exterior colors that it came in. I thought they were pretty unique, especially the two-tone, kind of like my Evoque has. But then I got in and there was carpet on the doors, and I kind of couldn't get over that.
The shag carpeting on the doors. And
that was a really hard thing for me.
To our understanding, that's not something that you can opt out of. That just comes in every single model. So.
And it is important to note, though, that I didn't get the all-wheel drive to test drive, so it didn't have as much power.
So the weaker engine.
It was a little bit of a weaker engine, and I could tell it when I was driving. Didn't really love that drive, but I mean, I'm kind of used to how my Jeep drove. And I'm trying to think what else I kind of caught my eye.
It felt a little bit rougher. That the headrest was really uncomfortable. Oh,
that's right. That was the one with the headrest.
Yeah, it kind of shapes out, and they say it's for safety, but
yeah,
it was not. You're always like kinked forward, and it was kind of rougher. It almost felt like you're driving in a truck.
Yeah, I had really high hopes for it, though, especially right after the accident. I was really worried about safety, and Volvo always kind of has really high safety ratings. It didn't feel like my car. You're right. Yeah. The headrest, the carpet on the doors, both things that I couldn't really get over.
Yeah.
So that's why.
And I agree. Like, I had really high hopes. I was thinking that would be the car we'd go with, but after I didn't even test drive it. I just sat in the passenger seat, and it just did not feel luxurious for the price that you're paying. Also, I didn't really bring my camera to any of these places because the salesmen are usually pretty weird.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they're just kind of strange. So I don't really want to bring my camera. And a lot of times we were going after work, and I didn't have my camera with me. So unfortunately, I didn't get footage of every single car that we saw, but that's why we're doing this little overview video. So after that, the next day we went and saw the BMW X1.
Yes.
And the X1, or X2, which is like the coupe version of the X1. So you test drove the X1. What were your thoughts on that?
Test drove the X1. That one was nice. Interior was good. The ride was really smooth. I know the BMW has a certain look to it. I didn't really like how the front end looked. Just for me, my taste, I wasn't a big fan of it, but I'm sure, I mean, it's a really nice car.
Yeah.
The drive was nice. It just, again, there were just little details about it on the interior that I wasn't a huge fan of.
Its screen is popped out.
Yeah, and see, that's one of the things that I didn't like, and that was kind of an interior just kind of feature that I was looking for, is one that wasn't sticking out. And I know that a lot of the new cars have the screens that stick out from the dash, and I'm not a big fan of that. I just think it takes away from like that smooth look, and it wasn't unique enough for me. Like, I wanted something a little bit more unique.
Yeah, because there's a lot of X1s out in the city. After that, we went to see the Acura RDX, which just came out this year.
Yeah, that one actually surprised me. That one I actually really liked. I mean, as soon as I drove that RDX, I immediately was kind of like, well, I still like the Evoque the most, but this Acura has just beat out the BMW and Volvo easily for me.
Yeah.
Which
it
I was
also
really
had that
surprised
screen,
about.
though, that you didn't like. It's a pretty big screen that pops out. That one I remember for sure.
Yep, and that one wasn't like one of my favorite features of it, but I was really surprised how much I liked the RDX.
Yeah.
It was a really nice car. It just, for me, I think I already had my heart a little bit set on.
Yeah, and it was very big. Like, it's a lot bigger than any of the other competitors we drove. I mean, the
maneuverability.
Yeah,
I tried to turn, and the turn radius I didn't like quite as much.
Yeah, it's a large car. I mean, the RDX used to be small, but I think the current RDX is probably just as large as the previous generation MDX. So it's a very big car to drive. So after that, we went and we actually looked at a Toyota Tacoma.
Yeah.
Because you always like the Tacomas.
I've always liked the Tacomas, and funny enough, like once I actually got in it, though, I was kind of like, I think it's a little bit too big for me, which is funny because the Tacoma's the smallest car that you can get on the truck market, at least, and it just still felt a little bit too big for me. And I mean, everything else about it I really liked because it was still very much the rugged look. I think we looked at the off-road edition.
Yeah.
And I really loved that about it because it kind of reminded me of my Jeep, but yeah, it felt a little bit too big, and I wanted something a little bit different, a little bit more luxury. So
yeah, after you sit in some of those luxury cars, you go to a Tacoma. It's a great car, but they're not as luxurious. I mean, it's like my Toyota compared to her Range Rover. It just doesn't look the same. You're not getting the same features, but that's because it's not meant to be a luxury truck.
Yeah.
But you saw that. Then we went and saw the Lexus NX.
Yes.
Which the salesman there was really weird. But aside from that, the car was. What'd you think?
I mean, the car was nice. I don't really remember anything that stood out to me,
It also had the screen that popped out. It looked very similar to the RDX on the interior.
But I mean, like, I wanted something that was going to be like a wow factor. There wasn't a roof, like a panel roof.
Yeah, they don't have the panoramic roof even as an option.
And that was something that I kind of was just like, that was a wow feature for me in this car. And I just remember getting out of the Lexus, and I just didn't really feel like there was any, like, kind of personality to it. Well, enough my personality to it, I guess.
Yeah. After we saw all those, we went and looked at the Jeep Wrangler.
Yeah.
Right? So we went and saw the new Jeep Wranglers, the JL Jeep Wranglers, the one we saw next. And your thoughts?
Yeah, so we looked at the 4-door and the 2-door. Started with the 4-door, actually, and I mean, I think it's funny because I think a lot of the salesmen there, they know how a Jeep drives. A Jeep drives very different than a lot of other cars, and that's something that was a lot different for me even when I was test driving these other ones. I mean, it was nice. I think the hardest thing for me is it's kind of like when you have a dog of a certain breed and you lose that dog, you kind of start comparing everything to that dog. Like it's hard for you to get that same breed. And I think for me, it was just a little bit too soon to get another Jeep. And I kind of was, I think, ready for something a little bit different after I went through that. So the 4-door was great. It drove a little bit smoother than my 2-door did, probably just because the weight behind it and all of that. The 2-door was actually kind of funny. I mean, I think we were expecting automatic door locks, auto windows, and that one also still had the roll-up windows and the manual door locks I had.
That's crazy to me, because like every new car nowadays, even if it's like a $9,000 Mitsubishi, has automatic windows and locks, and this was a brand new car that was $35,000, and it still has manual locks, roll-up windows, and there's the key fob. There's no, you can't unlock the car with it. You have to actually physically stick the key in, and I don't know, that's just crazy to me because $35,000 is a lot. You can get a lot of cars in the market for that, but I mean, clearly people pay for it. So
yeah,
the 4-door version was about $50,000, so that's also a really expensive car for not being a luxury car or, you know, nothing in that range. It's just an off-roader. So, but yeah, you wanted something different.
I think at that point I was ready for something different. I mean, I still have, like, Jeep has such a good spot in my heart, and I don't think I was ready. I think it was too soon for me to have another Jeep, and I mean, I think I was ready to get a luxury car and try something a little bit new.
And then we actually, I forgot to mention, saw the QX50, the Infiniti QX50.
Yeah.
You like that one a lot.
Yes, that one actually was second on my list of the Evoque.
Yeah.
And it actually was making me consider, well, maybe I need to go retest drive everything and find out if that's actually something I wanted. That one had a heads-up display, which was really unique. It was actually,
or so she says, because nobody else saw it.
Yeah, no one else saw it, but I did. And that one was really unique. I liked that.
Had a panoramic roof as well. Pretty
roof.
Powerful engine.
About the same size as my Evoque, I would say.
Yeah, it might be a little bit bigger, but it's very similarly sized. It seems smaller than the RDX, which was easier to maneuver.
The Pano, yeah.
It was good looking. It had a lot of technology.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it was third on my list. We'll get to what was second on my list.
Oh, yeah.
Second favorite.
It was second at the time we test drove it.
Yes, second time we test drove it.
And that one was almost a contender. But then we went and we saw the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. That's the little SUV from Alfa Romeo. And so what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that one was just a fun car to drive. I mean, it was quick. It maneuvered great. I loved the interior. The seats, it was the Sport Edition. Yeah,
the TI Sport. So it was like the top of the line, aside from the 400-something horsepower one.
And it wasn't necessarily like some of the sport features that I enjoyed more. I think little things like the seat and, I mean, having the giant paddle shifters was kind of neat. I don't know how much I would really use that, but having that there and it being like a sports car. The look of it, I mean, the interior options that it had. I mean, it has red seats as an option, and I thought, wow, that's a really unique thing. So again, we're coming back to like that wow factor. The one seats were really comfortable. Yeah, the seats I remember that, and the pickup was great on it.
Yeah, that was a car that surprised me because I thought Range Rover or the Volvo would be the top two just before we even started this, and we never really thought about the Stelvio. I don't know how that one even just came up. But I know it was rated one of the best SUVs, and so we went and saw it, and yeah, I can see why. It's really fun to drive. I didn't even drive it, but me as a passenger, I had fun in it. Even the seating position and all the technology, and it's a really, really cool car, and especially for the price that they sell it for, you can get a fully equipped one for probably under $50,000, and it's a really nice car. So if you are in the market and you're not in love with the Range Rover, then I would definitely check out that car. But
that one was a close second. It really had me reconsidering if I wanted the Range Rover Evoque. Yeah. And that's how good of a car the Stelvio was.
Yeah, because you were in love with this car.
I was in love with this car.
I mean, it was always number one, even when there were others. This was number one. And then you saw that one, and you were like, well, maybe it's not. But then you test drove it again, this one.
And that's when I knew
and it was
this is
number
my car. But that one I'd highly recommend for anyone.
That was kind of the whole history of all the cars we went through. We skipped some. So the Mercedes GLC, I kind of thought you wouldn't like that because of the screen coming out, and it's kind of a common car. I mean, you see it everywhere. The Range Rover is a little bit more unique. I feel like, yeah, there's probably several in the area, but when you see one, they're a little bit different. They're not as common, and so we skipped that one. We also didn't look at the Cadillac XT5. We didn't look at that because I also think same reasons. And then we didn't look at the Audi Q5 either, but we had seen a lot of cars, and a lot of those other ones that we skipped were just too common, and we wanted something more unique, which I think this car kind of just encompasses it, and it fits you really well.
Yeah,
so.
It's like a luxury Jeep too. I mean, I still have my snow mode and everything.
Yeah, if you think about it, this is just an off-roading luxury car. So she went from an off-roading regular car to an off-roading luxury car. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Thank you. Loving it. I love it so much. Thanks.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this provided some new information for you. Brief overview of all of the options out in the market, because this is a very saturated market right now, but she really liked it. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you all at the next video. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.